Hello, it's time for Combat Patrol Carnage. We're back with issue 39 for the last time. We got a couple of pages of the core rules to look at. So we look at how strategic reserves work before we get to implement them in our battle. We also learn about terrain features. We also have a tutorial on how to use the terrain cards, as going forward from now on we're asked to place terrain as we see fit. So we've got a little D3 table, and there's only 3 types of terrain I think they're supplying with this collection. So it's going to be an interesting one anyway, so we'll see how that goes when we read those articles. And then finally we got Scenario 25 Ghost Vanguard, in which a unit of Wraithguard are coming to the rescue of a already depleted Aeldari force. So before we hit the table, do our reading and rolling our dice, don't forget to do all the usual. Like this video if you're enjoying the content, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already and want to see more of this content. And of course, drop me a comment down below. Love hearing back from you guys, and it's a massive way to help this channel. Another way to help this channel out is to support me on Patreon. I really need to push Patreon a bit more and get more stuff up on Patreon. I'm looking at trying to get some new equipment, and helping me out by supporting me there will help put money towards that equipment. I'm possibly thinking of setting up a second area of filming so I can film upstairs when I've sort of finished for the day, done my painting work and whatnot, and video editing, and I can film maybe a relaxing battle report upstairs in my gaming room. So yeah, links are in the video description as usual for all my other social medias if you'd like to follow me over there. Finally then, Combat Patrol Carnage is proudly sponsored by warbait.shop, your one-stop supply for all your hobby needs. They stock everything you need, from models to paints to gaming equipment and decorative items such as posters, art prints, coins, and the like. So check them out. There's a link for the website, or they've got a physical store to go down and check out in person. Right, let's head to the table, read our new rules, and we'll find out how good these Wraithguard are in combat. So here we are then, back with issue 39 for the final time, and it's time to try out our Wraithguard in a battle to rescue a already beleaguered Aeldari force. But before we do that, we get to name our new unit. So we'll adjust the camera. I've got my dice, pen, and issue 23 ready, and we can get right on into it. So we'll flip over straight to our battle record. We'll put a piece of paper to protect the pages, so we can actually turn to issue 23, get the naming chart up. But first, let's read a little bit about Wraithguard. Wraithguard. Wraithguard are elite wraithbone constructs. In times of dire threat, their forms are imbued with the spirits of fallen Aeldari warriors, allowing these souls to fight on even after death. In battle, they march stolidly towards the enemy, delivering lethal salvos from their powerful wraith cannons as they do so. So, as usual, we've got a bit of a background table to write down, but we get to name our unit first. So, this will be named after the first spirit entombed in the unit, so our effectively unit leader. So, we've got a 1 followed by 3 Ilak. And their unit epithet is 3 followed by 6 Shadow Warriors. I've just checked my record and nope, I haven't got that already. So Yilak's Shadow Warriors. Very fitting for a unit of the undead Wraithguard. So there we go. So we're all on the background table. What do we get? a 6. So this unit of Wraithguard is known for holding back a Tyranid onslaught when the craft world was unexpectedly ambushed. So pretty cool. It's going to be very good at fighting against Tyranids then. So we can tick off their deeds once we've completed. So we've built, we've painted, and we're about to play. So let's tick that off while we're here. So right, there we go. Let's put this lot away and we can start looking at the data record. So let's check out their battle record and see how good these guys are. So we've got our data sheet. As usual, this is a data sheet where all the information needed to use this unit in games of combat patrol are recorded. You'll receive a data sheet for each unit in your collection. Don't worry if this appears overwhelming for now. You'll learn more about data sheets in future issues, which is kind of old. We've learned about them in a past issue by this time. But yeah, we got our Wraithguard. So they have a movement of 6, a toughness of 6, so they're a little bit tougher than Terminators. They have a 2+ save, 3 wounds, a leadership 8, and objective control 1. So pretty high on the leadership. So I believe they are improved when you have a Spirit Seer nearby. So ranged weapons, they've got the Wraith Cannon, which is 18 inches, so a mid-range sort of gun. Single attack, hits on a 4, it's strength 14, -4 on the AP, d6 +1 damage. So these things are Terminator poppers. They are pretty powerful guns. If they hit, they are going to hit like a hot knife through butter and just cut through near enough anything. Melee weapons, they have their standard close combat weapon, which has 3 attacks, hits on a 4+, it's strength 5 though, which is pretty cool. 0 AP and 1 damage as usual. They have Wraith constructs, so they can't be affected by stratagems. But like I said, Spirit Seers, I believe, make these guys a little bit better when they're nearby. Plus it gives the Spirit Seer lone operative, when nearby, gives them extra protection. So to use this in combat patrol, in games where you're using your Aeldari Space Marine combat patrol, for some reason, apparently they're Aeldari Space Marines, the Fate Breakers, you may, before selecting enhancements, remove the Wraith Lord and then replace it with the Wraithguard. So we swap out 1 monster for 5 slightly smaller sort of monsters. Keywords, they're Infantry, Aeldari, Wraith Construct, and they are known as Wraithguard and belong to either Asayani faction. And down here we got a bigger text basically of how to use it. You can use this unit in any of your games of combat patrol. Some scenarios will instruct you to use this unit. In games with other players where you're using the Aeldari combat patrol Fate Breakers, you may, before selecting enhancements, remove the Wraith Lord from your army and replace it with the Wraithguard. So as this is an official publication, you can officially use this in any official Games Workshop combat patrol tournament, I guess. So yeah, it's an official Games Workshop publication. So if you wanted to and you're doing a combat patrol tournament and you've got the Fate Breakers, you could always take the Wraithguard instead of taking the Wraith Lord. So pretty cool. Options is pretty good. It makes things a lot more flexible, which is really good. Moving on, we got some more pages of our core rules. So this looks at strategic reserves. Strategic reserves are forces that one or both players have chosen not to deploy at the start of the battle. These rules explain how to place units into strategic reserves, as well as how and when they arrive on the battlefield. So at the start of the game, you can place units into strategic reserves. Depending on the size of the battle, it's the point limit. So incursion games, 1,000 points up to a quarter of your army. Strike force, 2,000 points, again a quarter of your army, and the same for onslaught. So yeah, strategic reserve units are not deployed at the start of battle. Combined points cannot exceed 25% of your total army, and cannot use fortifications in strategic reserves. So, arriving from strategic reserves, any strategic reserve units that are not on the battlefield move on during your, by the end of the battle, count as destroyed, and they move on during the reinforcement step of your movement phase, except during the first battle round. So, setting up must be deployed wholly within 6 inches of any battlefield edge, but no model in those units can be set up in the enemy deployment zone. Starting from the third battle round, you can deploy wholly within 6 inches of any battlefield edge. So yeah, normally it's any battlefield edge but not your opponent's deployment zone, but if you come in from turn 3 onwards, it can be your opponent's deployment zone. In any case, you can't be set up more than 9 inches away from any enemy models, and all other rules that apply when setting up reserve units also apply for strategic reserve units. Whew, that was a mouthful. Next up then, we take a look at terrain. So this is going to be kind of important as we've got our terrain cards, but we have a separate section all about those cards in just a sec. So terrain features, this section provides rules for using a range of terrain features that can be used to transform the gaming table into interactive thematic battlefields set in the 41st millennium. These rules help to bring your battlefield to life and introduce a vital tactical dimension to your games. So most commonly we'll get something called benefit of cover. So models can sometimes gain a measure of protection from terrain. See rules on page 45 to 48 for more details. Each time a ranged attack is allocated to it, you add 1 to your saving throw. This cannot increase your saving throw above 3+ or better. You can't get this against AP 0, but anything with a -1 onwards AP, you will gain your +1 to your cover, to your armor. And then we look at the different types of terrain. So we got things like craters, barricades and fuel piping, battlefield debris and statuary, hills, industrial structures, sealed buildings and armored containers, and woods. So pause and take a read if you want to, or you got your own copy. Give this section a good read. It'll be important for games going forward. And finally we got ruins. So these are a little bit more of a open structure, but count very much the same as a sealed building. You do have different levels of elevation, so you will have to measure up and across if you want to climb up to the next level, etc. And there we go. Yeah, pretty cool. Hopefully we'll get some terrain cards of these on. That'd be quite nice. So I've got a spare set of these buildings, and it'd be nice to add these to my terrain board. But speaking of terrain cards, we've got an article all about them. In this article, you will learn the rules for the terrain cards that come with Combat Patrol magazine. These cards represent three-dimensional objects. So even though they are flat, the rules may include instructions on how to climb up and hide behind terrain features that are depicted. Setting up terrain. Sometimes rules of a game may tell you to select pieces of terrain to add to the battlefield. You can choose whichever piece you like most, or if you prefer, roll on the table below to select a random piece. So we've got a D3 table, as we're only getting 3 different types of terrain. We're getting debris, craters, and barricades. So battlefield debris and statuary. So this includes the giant tyrannid growth and our buried armored container. So for movement purposes, models may move over, up and down this terrain feature, but cannot set up or end any kind of move on top of it. So whether this means the entire card or just the actual piece of depicted terrain, we're not too sure. Visibility, so normal visibility rules apply. So if you're behind it and your opponent can see you, you are visible, but you do get benefit cover. If you're behind it and they can't see you, effectively you are fine, you're obscured, and get benefit cover as I just mentioned. Next up, craters and rubbles. So we've actually got 2 of these of this issue, 2 craters, and we've got some ruined defense position in a future issue to come. So models can move over terrain features as described on page 15 of the core rules. Normal visibility rules apply, and each time a ranged attack is allocated to an infantry model that is wholly on top of this terrain feature, that model has benefit of cover. So on the cards we have like a little line around just the crater section. So as long as you're within that line, you count as being in cover. Finally, barricades and fuel pipes. So we're getting fuel pipes in a future issue. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to dig out, see if I've got enough to make these up. Even using some wire as well, which is pretty cool, and some extra discarded pieces of machinery and rocks. And we've had this one for our ammo container barricade. So movement, models can move up and over this terrain feature, but they cannot end any kind of movement on top of it. Normal visibility rules apply. Engagement range. So in the charge phase, if you end within 1 inch of this terrain feature, you are charging an opposition model that are on the other side of this terrain feature, you count as being in engagement range as long as you are within 2 inches. And in the fight phase, you're eligible to fight both sides as long as you're within 2 inches of the terrain feature and the unit on the other side. And benefit cover, ranged attacks against infantry models within 3 inches of the terrain feature. If that model is not visible to the enemy, to every attacking model in the unit, this terrain feature, that model has a benefit of cover. So again, get cover from it, which is pretty cool. Right, finally then, it's time to head to our scenario 25, Ghost Vanguard. A patrol of Chaos Space Marines come across an Aeldari scouting party. Eagerly, the Chaos Space Marines move in to attack, but unbeknown to them, a unit of Wraithguard is on its way to reinforce their kin, and the fight is going to be much closer than they are expecting. To play Chaotic Ambush, although it says Chaos Vanguard, apparently, Ghost Vanguard even, set up the battlefield as shown below, then follow the deployment instructions. The Aeldari player takes 5 Wraithguard, 10 Guardian Defenders, and a heavy weapon platform, 3 Wind Riders, and a Farseer. Chaos Space Marine player takes 10 Legionaries, 5 Havocs, and a Dark Apostle with his 2 Dark Disciples. Deployment. Chaos Space Marine player places their units in their deployment zone. The Aeldari player deploys their Wraithguard in deployment zone 1, and the remaining units in either or both of the 2 Aeldari deployment zones. So you can set up some over here with the Wraithguard, or you can just deploy everything there. How to win. At the end of each player's command phase, player scores victory points as follows. If they control 1 or more objective markers, they score 5 victory points. If they control more objective markers than their opponents, they also score 5 victory points. The player with the highest at the end of the 5th battle round is the winner. If both players have an equal number of victory points, the battle is a draw. For a reminder on these rules of controlling objectives, see Basics B8. So over the pages are victory conditions. So we'll set up the battlefield and we can try this scenario out. Okay, here we are, all set up, ready to play Ghost Vanguard. So we've got the Chaos deployed here in the center. The Havocs are sitting back guarding the objective. I've patrol squadded because it doesn't say we can't use it, but I thought I'd give it a try for a change. So we've got the shooty Legionnaires here, the combat Legionnaires with the Dark Apostle attached there. The Farseer is over there with the Guardians on that objective in the deployment zone. And then the reserve force, the 3 Wind Riders, leading the Wraithguard into the battle. Mission doesn't specify who gets first turn, so we'll do the good old roll-off, see who gets it. Aeldari win 3-2, so we got 5 battle rounds to try and win as many points as we can. And here we go with Aeldari, turn 1. So first off, we'll gain command points. Put it on the leader card. End of the command phase. So it doesn't say we're limited to just turn 2 onwards. So at the end of each players score victory points. So both players will score at the end of each command phase. So that's going to be interesting. It doesn't say player whose turn it is scores. So in that case, both sides get 5 victory points because they both control an objective. So on to Aeldari movement. We'll move my magazine out of the way. So Wraithguard are going to move 6 towards the Chaos Space Marines. And the Wind Riders are going to make use of their speed and go 14. Guardians will sit still. Oh, forgot command phase. Fortune will go on the Guardians. Keep ourselves alive a little bit longer, hopefully. And on to shooting. So let's see how good these Wraithguard actually can be. So they will shoot at the 5 Chaos Space Marine Legionnaires there. If I can get 5 dice. So hitting on 4s. Only 2. We can't use stratagems on, so re-rolls. But wounding on 2s. That's 2, and these are -4, so that is 2 dead Legionnaires straight off. The Wind Riders will follow suit. They will shoot, again, same target, so they get the re-rolls of 1. So they're the closest, so 2 Twin Shuriken Catapults. Rerolling 1s to hit, or hit. And Strength 4, tough 4, 4s. And twin links, so I can reroll the wounds. Nope, just a 3. -1. 3 up, down to 4 up armor. Failed 2, so that is another dead legionnaire. And then I've got 6 shots with a scatter laser on them. Hitting on 3s. Rerolling 1s. That's 4. And wounding on 3s for strength 6. 3 wounds at -0, so 3 up armor. I have a 2 in there, so that is a single wound. So our remaining guy is down to 1 wound, and that's going to be a barrel shock test for that unit. Next up, the Guardians will shoot. Just check the data cards. So we got 2 shots of the star cannon, hitting on 3s, both hit. Wounding on 2s because it's strength 8, toughness 4. Both wound -3, so they have a 6 up armor save. Failed, and these are 2 damage a pop, so that is 3 dead Chaos Legionnaires straight off. It's going to have to be the 3 with the chain swords, I think. No, maybe Melter? Yeah, Melter's kind of useless. We'll get rid of Melter. It's going to be overkill on them anyway. So that's just the star cannon. And then we got 20 shots with shuriken catapults, 2 each. I'll just tip out all my red dice because I've got 20 exactly there. Hitting on 3s. Ooh, lots of misses. Wounding on 4s. That's 5, 8 wounds at -1. We'll do them 2 at a time. So first 2 is a dead Chaos Space Marine. So that's 2 gone out of the wound pool. We've got 6 remaining. Next 2 on the Aspiring Champion. Makes 1, fails 1. Next 2 out of the damage pool, so made both, and the final 2 kills the champion. It's just the Apostle on his own, which is cool because the Farseer has yet to shoot, shooting at the same unit with her psychic power. So we'll shoot D6 shots for 6. Hitting on 3s. Ooh, missing twice. And we are strength 6, toughness 4, 3s. Only 2. Ouch. Actually, I'll command to reroll 1. There we go. So, command point spent. 3 wounds though, so we'll save on the Apostles first. So, not Apostles, the servants first. 4 up invuln, 4 up invuln, and 4 up invuln. All passed. And do we throw the Singing Spear just for good measure? Actually, yeah, go on. Hits on a 2. It hits. Strength 9, so double 2s to wound. If the dice don't go on the floor. It wounds. -0, so 3 up armor. Actually, it's going to go on the servants, so 6 up armor. How passed. Okay. But end of Aeldari turn 1, and we've done an impressive amount of damage. On to Chaos turn 1. So both players gain command points. And both players gain victory points, apparently. At least that's what the wording on the mission says. So we'll need battle shock tests. So these guys are fine. He's now back to his starting unit strength, so he doesn't count. And that's it. So we move on to movement phase. The Apostle isn't going to be very happy sitting out in the open, so he's going to charge forward. Havocs will sit still. Oh, get off. And these guys will shoot at the bikers. So, shooting. We've got the Heavy Bolter. 3 shots. It's heavy, so we get +1 for not moving. Hitting on 3s instead of 4s. No sustained. Strength 5, toughness 4, freeze. 2 wounds on the bike at -1. 3 down to a 4. Ouch, that's a dead bike. And then we got 1 bolt gun, which is 2 shots hitting on 3s, wounding on 4s, nothing. Right, Havocs. The Las and Missile are going to go into the Wraithguard. The Heavy Bolter and Reaper Cannon is probably going to overkill the jet bikes. And am I in range for Plasma? I am, but not rapid fire. So the Plasma will go to the Guardians. First off, Bolt Pistol from the Apostle. Hits. And wounds. Guardians get 4 up armor. No. 1 dead Guardian. Off to a bad start. Oh, good start for Chaos. Right, onto the Havocs. So, Reaper Chain Cannon first of all. Get the right data card. So this is 8 shots. Hitting on freeze. That was a success, and so I moved it over. Missing twice. Are we sustained? No, we're not. I'll just check. I'm actually in 24 inches. I am. I'm shooting at yeah, definitely in. So that's 6 wounds. Not bad. Strength 5, toughness 4, freeze. That's a lot. 4 of them. Minus nothing for the chain cannon, I guess because it's light ammo. So 3 ups. Ooh, still failing 2. Do I command reroll? No, I'm going to save that for an important roll. And then the Havoc Heavy Bolter, which is 3 shots. Hitting on freeze. No sustained. Freeze to wound. 2 wounds. Why can I get that? Will this kill a jet bike? No, just wounds it. Single wound remaining. Right, last cannon into the Wraithguard. Single shot. Hits on a 3. We'll command reroll that. I'm not having a last cannon miss. There we go. And strength 12, toughness 6. It's double, so 2s. Wounds. -3, so 2 up, down to a 5 up armor. not made. D6 plus 1, so that's going to be a minimum of 1 dead guardian, because they are... Oh no, 3 wounds, so I need at least a 2. I get the 2. 1 dead Wraithguard. Oh no. Missile launcher firing... Crack shot, single shot, hitting on freeze. Yes. Not double, because they're only strength 9, so wounding on freeze. Yes. -2, so down to a 4-up armor. Failed. D6 damage. And that's another dead guard. Ow. And finally then, a single plasma shot from the plasma gun into the guardians, hitting on a 3. Wounding on strength 7, so double 2s. -2, so 4 down to 6. Ah, failed. 1 dead guardian. And then we're on to charge phase. So Apostle is going to be the only charge. He's in with a 7. Five attacks with the accursed Crozius, hitting on 2s. Ooh, still dropping 2. And wounding on 2s, because it's double. Shrink 6 to 3. 3 wounds, -1. So 4 down to 5. 1 made. 2 failed, so that'll be 2 dead guardians. Take them back 2. And then 2 close combat weapons from the disciples, both hitting. Strength 4, I believe. No, strength 3, so 4 is the wound. 1 wounds. 4 save. Not saved. Another dead guardian. Ouch. Aeldari will pile in. I think this game's going to be over before it's even begun. Can I actually get the Farseer? No, I can't. I can get it to there, though. So it's in range to actually attack. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Guardians remaining. So 5 attacks with close combat weapons. Hitting on freeze. And wounding on 5s. Just the 1. 3 up. Well, I'll do it on the Disciple. 6 up save. No, 1 dead Disciple. You were the closest. Then the Farseer gets to attack. Singing Spear, 2 attacks, hitting on 2s. Yep. Wounding on 5s. 1. No AP. So 6 up armor. Failed. That kills the last Disciple. Although technically it should be a 4-up invuln because the unit has a 4-up invuln. So that was a pass actually. So we'll return him. Go on. Be nice. They're not doing very well. They're a bit behind. So that's the end of turn 1. And it's currently a tie. We just need to make sure we can get the Havocs dead. So moving on to Aeldari. Turn 2. So first thing we do is gain command points and score victory points. Well, victory points last. So we score first, gain command points first. We need to battle shock our Wind Rider. There's leadership of 6. Good chance. 7. There we go. He's fine. Guardians are fine. Wraiths are fine. So now we can score. So again, we only score 5, but both sides score at the same time. So it's going to be a tie for the moment until we can actually kill something. And I'm going to do that now, hopefully. Alright, we'll move 6 of our Wraithguard. Wind Rider is going to go over to here so you can charge and hold up the chaos. Ooh. Sweet, they're just in. So, we'll do the twin shuriken catapult first, shooting at these guys. Hitting on freeze. Both hits. Wounding on 4s. We're twin linked. 2 wounds, that's what I like to see. And -1, so freeze down to 4s. We kill a guy, which is what I was hoping, because then we can hold up 1 guy in combat. Next, the Wraithguard, 3 shots at the Havocs. I need these to hit. Oh, there's 2 even. And there's the 3rd. Sweet, all hit. 2s. We can't re-roll that, sadly, so just a 2. This is going to end up as dead Havocs either way, so... it's only 2 wounds each. So what ones do we want to lose? Well, I think Reaper Chain Cannon, because there's no AP on that. Because it's D6 damage each one going through, so that's 3, so that would kill him. And then I think we will lose the Heavy Bolter. D6 damage, definitely enough to kill it. We've got pistol from the Farseer, 1 shot hitting on 2, wounding on 4. No, I won't re-roll that, that's no point. Fortune, I forgot Fortune last time actually. I know I forget, every time I do it I forget it. We'll do it again and I'll still forget it. So, charge phase then, Wind Rider into the Lone Chaos Space Marine. And you know what, seeing as we have been introduced to other stratagems, I'm going to do Fire Overwatch for 1 CP. So, choose a unit after my opponent has declared a charge or made a move of any kind. Shoot, but hits on 6s. And no. So, meow. So he'll fight first. 3 attacks with a close combat weapon, hitting on 3. Everything, wounding on 5s. Nothing. But I'm holding him up, that's the main thing. So we'll do the Crozius first. Hits on 2s. Still drops 1s. 2 even. Would wound on 2, but due to Fortune wounds on 3s. Still 3 wounds. -1, so 4 down to a 5. I think I will command reroll one of those. Into a fail. So it's still 3 dead Guardians. Ping, 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 ping. Close combat weapon attack, hits on a 4, doesn't, that's fine. And then Eldari pick a unit, so they'll pick the Guardians and Farseer. 2 attacks on the Guardians. 1 hit. 1 wound. 3 up save. Saved. Even on the 6 up saved. And then 2 attacks on the Spear. Both hitting. 5s. Nothing. And then I have Lone Legionnaire with his close combat weapon, gets 3 attacks. Hits on freeze. And wounds on 4s. Ow. No AP, so 3 up save. Needs to pass both. Oh, and I've used command reroll already. Well, he was holding up the Legionnaire, but now he's not. Over to Chaos then. So Havocs will sit still, they'll fire at the... Everything will go at the Wraithguard, so will the lone Legionnaire. He lost a model last turn, so he will need a battle shock. He's fine. Havocs are fine, so they're not yet below half. So no movement. 3 shots on the heavy bolter, hitting on freeze. Missing twice, but getting a sustained. Wounding on 5 against 6, so 5s. No. Single las cannon. Hits. Wounds. -3, so 5 up. No. And d6 damage. +1 is enough to kill a Wraithguard. Single shot on the missile launcher. Hits. Doesn't wound. You know what? I got a new command point. Let's spend it for reroll. Wounds. There we go. Only -2 this time, so 4 up armor. Ooh, still failed. D6 damage. That kills a Wraith. Over to plasma gun. Not 12. So single shot hits. And strength 7, toughness 6, freeze. It wounds. -2. Saved. Whew, did not want to do that, lose that. I thought we haven't added points and command points. I've spent mine for the turn, extra one for the Farseer. And an extra 5 for each side. We're still tied, 20 points each. But things are about to change, but I don't think it's for the Aeldari. So, Aeldari get the fight first. 2 attacks with the spear. Both hit. Need that roll again? No. 2 attacks with close combat weapons. Both hit. And 1 wound. 4 up. Invuln. Failed. Last. Cultist dead. And then 5 attacks coming in with the accursed Crozius. Missing once. We don't spend a command point in this phase, so I'll re-roll it. Or hit. And freeze because of fortune. -1, so let's do these one at a time because I still got Guardians. So 5, 1 dead. 5, 1 dead on the Farseer. 4 up Invuln. Saved. And Farseer is done for the turn. That's it. I think Aeldari are going to concede. They don't have the numbers to hold a victory. They're probably going to lose the Farseer eventually due to the clobbering of the Crozius there. So you pile in, bang. And yeah, I don't think that Wraithguard is going to do too much more damage and enough to take the objective. So we'll call it there, I think. We'll call it a Chaos victory as well, because it hasn't gone terribly too well. But we did see the Wraithguard in action, and they proved pretty potent on the battlefield, which is pretty cool. So let's go back to the magazine. We'll see what's in our next 2 issues, and I'll give you a victory speech. So there we go, big guns versus even bigger guns, and we got ourselves a Chaos victory. So put that over the other 2. So, Chaos victory. Despite the efforts of the Wraithguard, the Chaos Space Marines are able to overcome the Aeldari, rousing them utterly, blocking their path. The mission is over for the Aeldari warriors. So, yeah, not a very good outcome for the Aeldari. But was a nice game nonetheless, getting to see the Wraithguard in action, taking on Chaos forces, coming to the sort of rescue. We'll see them again next issue as we get ourselves a unit of Chaos Terminators to add to our Black Legion Combat Patrol. So build and paint guide for these guys. So it's going to be another similar issue to this one. So we'll have a build guide video, we'll have a paint guide video, and then we'll have our game, which is pretty much the same as this one. It's the Terminators coming to the rescue of an already weakened Chaos force, and the Aeldari are pressing the attack. So it's kind of a revenge, as it turns out. After that, we start our 5th combat patrol as we get a Orc war boss in mega armor. Beautiful model, push fit, but still rather imposing looking model. A model I've never built or painted, but I'm really looking forward to doing it as the magazine shows. And who knows, Orcs might grow on me as a combat patrol faction. Yeah, new lore though. We do get some new lore in this issue. We look at Slaanesh, and there are a couple of other pages focusing on the Orcs. And that's pretty much it. And we got a mission where we try out the Orc war boss against a variety of enemies. We can even change up the mission by changing factions, which is pretty cool. But that's it for this issue. All that's left for me to do is say, hope you've enjoyed this video. If so, drop a like and comment down below. And thank you all very much for watching, and I will see you next time for more Combat Patrol Carnage. Goodbye.